evening to all. Warm greetings from American College, Madurai. We welcome all the participants from various institutions to this national level webinar on COVID-19 and Indian economy. We start the session with prayer. I invite Dr. Jebrat Sir, Assistant Professor of Economics Department, for prayer.
Our dear Heavenly Father, thank you for the discussions today. Lord, we submit everything under your feet. In Jesus' precious name we pray. Amen.
Now I am happy to introduce our respected Principal and Secretary of American College, Dr. M. Daumani Christopher Sir, who has 30 years of teaching experience and attended more than 40 international conferences all over the world. He has double PhD, one in mathematics and another in education and mathematics interdisciplinary. We welcome Dr. Daumani Christopher Sir to deliver welcome address.
Good morning.
Morning, sir.
Hope you can, the voice is clear. Am I correct?
Yes, yes.
I can see a lot of alumni friends are there. And this is more than 220 now, the participants. National level webinar on COVID-19 and labor issues of India. Congratulations to the heads of the departments of economics of the American College and their staff. And thanks to resource persons, Dr. Shyam Sundar, professor from XLRI, Jamshedpur, and Dr. Rahul Suresh Sapkar, assistant professor, Tata Institute of Social Sciences, Mumbai, for accepting our request to be the resource persons.
So this is on 15th actually. Yes.
Department of Economics of the American College has a great tradition and one of the popular departments from the earlier days. The vibrant alumni spread all over the world. Yes, not only the students, but also the alumni and the faculty are talented and vibrant in our economics department. Entire world kept quiet even after 75 days. No one don't know what to do and also what is ahead. What we are going to do, don't know. But we have to find out how to overcome these kind of hurdles and problems that the entire humanity expecting now. Anything, we have to take it in positive sense. We have to adapt ourselves for any situation. God gave a chance to think about our future. Yes, it's a God-given break in the fast and furious world. Because of COVID-19, the staff can teach online. Student can learn online teaching. It is an exercise to all to face tomorrow's world. In this kind of situation, many departments of the college came forward to conduct webinars, workshops, conferences for the benefit of the students, faculty, and researchers. Likewise, the economics department is organizing a national level webinar on COVID-19 and Indian economy. The whole academics are focusing on online education now. I appreciate the efforts of economics department for organizing such a useful webinar. In American College, we have BA economics both in Tamil and English medium and world-class postgraduates. While all are busy with the discussion about the COVID-19 and post-COVID-19. The Department of Economics is concentrating on COVID-19 and Indian economy today. Friends, I am happy to inaugurate the national level webinar on COVID-19 and Indian economy organized by the Department of Economics of the American College to their students, researchers, and public during the lockdown period caused by coronavirus pandemic. It's my pleasure to thank the resource person, Dr. Biradar, Professor, Department of Economics, Karnataka University, Dharwad, Karnataka. Once again, I congratulate the faculty, the webinar coordinator, Dr. Jabaraj, PG head, Dr. Muthuraja, and UG head, Dr. Kannabiran, and other faculty for their wonderful initiative. God bless.
Thank you, sir. It's time to introduce our resource person, Dr. R.R. Biradar. I request Dr. C. Muthuraja, sir, HOD of Economics Department, American College, to introduce our resource person.
Good morning, sir.
Namaste, Vanakkam, good morning to all. I'm really happy to introduce the speaker, a known economist and econometrician in the world, Dr. R.R. Biradar from Dharwad University. He is an expert in economic research and publications. He's also known speaker in all the platforms related to economics field. Dr. Biradar is a life member of many international national organizations, particularly is a life member and EC member in organizations like Indian Economic Association, Indian Society of Labor Economics, Indian Society of Econometrics, and many organizations. And his contribution on economic field is noteworthy. I think there are many scholars, they are using their own research references with the support of Dr. Biradar. We as an American College and Department of Economics people were really very happy to hear and to meet in a virtual way Dr. Biradar. I must thank Biradar and his department people and particularly Biradar family for supporting us to have a good program. And he is going to talk about COVID-19 and Indian economy, and he has a PowerPoint presentation. After the PowerPoint presentation, we will have an interaction. Once again, I must thank Dr. Biradar for being act as a resource person. Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir. General announcement to the participants. During the session time, chat will be disabled, and during the queries and discussion time, chat will be enabled to all participants. Feedback form link will be shared in the chat after vote of thanks. Kindly fill the feedback form to get the participation certificates. And the participants are muted and they will not be allowed to unmute themselves. So if you have any queries, you can discuss in the chat, and the chat is enabled only with the host. So if any queries, you can post it in the chat and we'll make it. And now we'll hand over the session to the resource person. Sir, R. Biradar, sir. Sir, can you hear me, sir?
Yes, ma'am. Yeah, I can hear you. Yeah, I can hear you.
Oh, okay. Oh, okay, sir. Can you share the screen,
Yeah.
sir?
Certainly. Rachit?
Yes, sir.
Is it visible? The screen is visible?
Yes, sir. It is visible. It is visible. We can see your screen.
Just a minute. It is getting open. Yes, screen is visible.
Yes. Yes.
Can you see this screen?
Sir, yes.
Yes.
Visible, sir.
Yeah. Can you see this one now?
Visible? Yes.
Hello.
Yes, sir. Yes, we can see this.
You can see this screen, na? Yeah.
Yes, sir. We can see the screen, sir. You can
Okay.
start the session, sir.
Okay. Very good morning to all of you. The respected president of this national level webinar, Dr. Daumani Krishnappa, principal of this very well-known college, that is American College Madurai, and head of the Department of Economics of this Madurai, American College Madurai, and my close friend, Dr. C. Muthuraja, very known and active economics and econometrician of this nation. And the coordinator of this webinar, Dr. J. Jamiraj, and all his colleagues in the Department of Economics at American College Madurai, and all learned, distinguished, dynamic, active participants logged in from different places of the country. At the very outset, I congratulate Dr. C. Muthuraja, who has taken a very good initiation to organize one of the burning, a webinar on one of the burning topic on COVID-19 and Indian economy. As Principal Sir said, while world is most of them are sleeping, and this team is very active in organizing this kind of seminar. Friends, as our Daumani Krishnappa sir set a very good tone or a stage to discuss various aspects related to COVID-19 and Indian economy, wherein I'll discuss three important aspects. One is COVID-19 is just an overview, how this COVID-19 is spreading across different parts of the globe, including India, and what stage it is now. And another very contentious and widely debated issue is its impact of COVID-19 on Indian economy. I'm just giving you some iceberg of the crisis of the Indian economy, not all of it. And other one is physical stimulus announced by the finance minister recently, whether this can bring our Indian economy on back or V-shaped recovery. And finally, what are the important challenges that we have to bring the Indian economy on track? Friends, there are three knowns and many unknowns under which we need to lead a life along with the coronavirus. Three knowns are very clear. The first one is the coronavirus is originated from Wuhan, Hubei province of China. Nobody can deny it. And second unknown is that this COVID-19 is a zoonotic. Zoonotic means it is transmitted from pangolin to bat, basically animal transmission, and from bat to human transmission. So the second, third known is that it is a transmissible. It spreads from one person to another person. So when the first case was found in Thailand, which has a connection with the Wuhan market, Wuhan wet market, then it was realized that it is a human transmissible. It transfers from person to person. So these are the three, as of now, these are the three important known facts. but there are, friends, there are many, many unknowns under which we are all trying to analyze the impact of COVID-19 on Indian economy or economy of the globe. And also we are announcing a slew of measures to combat this COVID-19 pandemic. So we'll try to understand different implications of them. Friends, at the global level, as you know, every day, the total number of COVID cases, that is number of people infected with COVID, is increasing like anything. It is spreading like a wildfire. In the recent past, of course, there's some the spread is slowed down, but during the last 2-3 months, you can see we are all watching the cases of COVID like a cricket scoring, with a huge amount of panic, unlike in the case of what we watch cricket. Friends of the globe, the America, especially the United States, America and Brazil, has the highest share of the total number of people affected with COVID-19, accounting closer to say 50%, say around 48%. Followed by Europe and US, especially Russia. There you can see huge amount of people getting affected with the COVID pandemic. And followed by other regions, Eastern Mediterranean, Southeast Asia, where India is located. In Southeast Asia, so India is located, the state accounts for around 6%, and Western Pacific and Africa. So therefore, the major hub of this episode, this fatalistic event, is located in America, followed by European countries. And you can also just look at this figure, the distribution of COVID cases, new cases by important countries. Say United States of America accounts for closer to 1/3 of the total COVID cases, followed by Brazil, Russia, Spain, and United Kingdom, and then India. So India's rank is around closer to 6th. Friends, but one of the important, interesting trend that we can observe is that at the global level, the cases of this COVID-19 are declining. Just look at this figure. So in countries like Brazil, USA, just see this red line, this inverted by and large U-shaped curve. It's a flattened curve. Many of the scientists are talking about a flattened COVID curve. So now the whole majority of the countries, say whole world, including is experiencing, is showing a flattened form of a COVID cases curve, which means that in the recent past, there is a gradual decline in the number of COVID affected people, especially in the countries like Brazil, USA, Mexico, United Kingdom, Russia. But here in these figures, what you can observe is that in India and then Pakistan, this is not taking place. Still, the new cases of COVID-19 is on the rising side. Friends, look at this India's density of COVID cases. Among all the states of Indian states, say Maharashtra and then say Tamil Nadu, followed by Gujarat, Rajasthan, Madhya Pradesh, and other countries, you can see the higher cases of reporting this COVID-19 cases. So that it is Tamil Nadu and then Maharashtra. Maharashtra followed by Tamil Nadu are the two important states in the country which have hard hit due to this COVID-19 pandemic. And look at this very interesting figure where you can see, I just estimated the total number of infected, active, and recovered and death cases due to COVID-19 pandemic during these 5 lockdown period, considering every 5 days data. Every 5 days data, I have taken it and then estimated what is the trend just to track the COVID-19 pandemic cases. Friends, see here the total number of COVID pandemic affected people is rising quite significantly. And other important the story is that the total number of recovery, this is say green line, is increasing much faster than the active cases. So this means that active cases is not following the infected cases, which means infected is rising, but active cases is not rising as much as this infected cases. And the other one is this recovery is increasing much faster than the this active cases appeared in the during different lockdown period. But I'll just see here, I'll just try to link, establish a link between form of lockdown and the cases appeared here. Friends, see, as you know, in the first period and then second period, say second lockdown and first lockdown and then second lockdown, which were very strict in true sense, are compared to third, fourth, and fifth, where this cases reported to be very less. Just look at this figure. Can you hear me? Hello, madam, sir. Hello, hello, hello. Somebody should hello.
Sir, yes, sir.
Yeah, you should. Yeah, somebody should say yes or no, because I will be. You are. Can you hear me? Are you hearing me? Hello.
Yes, sir. We can hear you, sir.
Okay,
yes.
Okay, yes, fine. So that I can go ahead. Otherwise, yeah. Okay, yeah. Somebody should just react whenever I ask, so that I'll be.
Yes. So the only person who can say yes is myself. Others are mute.
Yeah. Even the resource person, other guest, and our head Mutturaj, you can put them on unmute. They can also interact. No problem.
Okay, sir. You can go ahead.
Fine. Yeah. So this is the. You can just see the link between the number of cases infected with COVID and even a recovery and death with the form of lockdown that has been announced in the country. So in the first and then second, see there was a control. There was a cases, infected cases, active and recovery found to be very less. But when in the third and then fourth and fifth lockdown, which is now in practice, see the cases are quite rising. And even the active, even in cases, infected cases is just blue line is rising at the rapid rate. But what is another important point is that active cases is not rising. This may be due to the cases which are rising, maybe due to more testing. That's fine. But what is important point is that active cases, which is say here, green line, dotted green line, is not rising as much as the infected cases. So therefore, active cases is slowing down, and at the same time, recovery is increasing. So this is a good sign. But what we can understand between the first and then second lockdown period and third and subsequent lockdown period is that there is a possibility of the increase in the transmission of COVID-19 among the people when the lockdown is relaxed. So in the third and then fourth and fifth, lockdown is relaxed. So therefore, you can see clearly here the number of infected cases as well as active cases are rising as compared to first and then second lockdown period. So therefore, lockdown has some meaning, which means that lockdown has some meaning as far as this limiting the transmission of COVID pandemic cases is concerned. After having said this, the next important point is that what is its impact? What is impact? What is the impact of COVID-19 on Indian economy? Friends, see, we don't know. That's what I'm telling. There are many unknowns. We don't know how long this COVID pandemic will be continued. It will be among us, and we don't know how it is going to impact the Indian economy in different sectors and different sections of the society. So these are all there are many uncertainties under which we need to analyze the impact of COVID-19 on different dimensions of Indian economy. Friends, before giving you an iceberg of the impact of Indian economy, I just give a very a theoretical framework to understand this impact. Friends, before outbreak of this pandemic, as you know, Indian economy is reeling under economic slowdown due to one important reason. There are maybe many other reasons, but there's one important reason, that is lack of demand. Even you know, when the Great Depression took place in 1929, it was due to lack of effective demand in the Keynesian jargon, Keynesian language. So before outbreak of this COVID pandemic, Indian economy was reeling under an economic slowdown, economic crisis, whatsoever call, due to lack of demand. So when there is a lack of demand, automatically no production will not take place. When no production, no investment. So no investment leads to no employment generation. So when employment generation is not taken place, then obviously no income at the hands of the people to buy goods and services. So obviously there is no demand. So this is how the vicious circle of downwards looping GDP growth rate was operating before the outbreak of the COVID-19 pandemic in the country. So once this COVID-19 pandemic appeared in the globe as well as in the country, so there is a double shock. India was caught under the double shock. One is no demand or limited demand for especially non-luxurious goods, you can say, or non-staple foods. And other one is no production, because most of the activities were closed down area. So therefore there was no demand, and also there was a less production. So there was a double shock to the Indian economy. So therefore outbreak of this COVID pandemic has added fuel to the fire, because India, before this disease appeared, India was reeling under the economic crisis. So this pandemic added fuel to the fire, or it has put a salt into the wound. So therefore, Indian economy has been caught under the double crisis, or in other words, economic slowdown was deepening further, or got deeper and further. So therefore, as you know, this simple formula, GDP, that's Y is a function of consumption, investment, and government expenditure, exports and imports. So earlier, before the outbreak of this pandemic, this Y was affected due to lack of consumption, basically lack of consumption. And others were in fact making some impact. When this outbreak, when this COVID pandemic was appeared, say consumption was also affected, investment, especially the private sector, was affected, and government expenditure, especially, it was not as much as we expected, and exports and imports were also declined, as you know. So therefore, this vicious circle of lowering the or deteriorating the economic growth is operating quite effectively when this COVID pandemic is appeared in the country. So with this, I would say that this pandemic has made tremendous impact on the Indian economy on different sectors. As you know, almost all business are down. And especially if you talk about the manufacturing sector, as you know, this micro, small and medium enterprises have hard hit in the country, because these MSMEs play a very, very important role in the country, because they account for about 29% of the GDP, and they employed around 11 crore of the people in this sector. So therefore, this MSME is going to become a major driver of the Indian economy in the days to come. So when this MSMEs in the urban area and as well as to some extent rural area has hit, many of the people, thousands of millions of people have lost their job. This is one sector, and other one is real estate sector has the hard hit. Investment in real estate sector, as you know, today appeared in the Deccan Herald, declined by 93% as compared to the last year, five months during last period. And other important sector is service sector. Service sector, especially education institutes, as you know, most of the educational institutes which are involved in learning and teaching closed down. So that has been affected. Insurance has been affected. Of course, banks were kept open, but banking business has been hard hit. And trade, commerce, business, transport, wherein a huge number of skilled, unskilled labor have been employed, have been hard hit. They become jobless and living less. And other important sector that we have seen is that agriculture sector. Of course, agriculture as compared to service and manufacturing sector has not been hard hit, but still the pinch of this impact has been experienced by many of our farmers living in the rural area, especially the horticulture sector. Yeah, as you know, a huge amount of fruits, flowers, and vegetables have been thrown into the street due to lack of logistic facilities, due to lack of transport facility to take them to sell their these goods in the urban market. Even in the urban market was also closed down. So therefore, during the pandemic lockdown period, horticulture sector, especially processing and marketing of fruits, flowers, and vegetables, which are very perishable in nature, have been hard hit, and then agriculture has suffered in this case. So it is manufacturing sector, followed by service sector, and then agriculture sector has been hard hit due to this. And along with these key sectors, we also seen millions of migrant workers and urban informal workers became jobless when MSMEs were closed, when all the other sectors are closed. Then migrant workers become jobless and they become homeless. So, and poor people, marginal and small farmers who also lost their living due to this pandemic, and urban informal sector has been paralyzed. And other important sector is tourism industry, stock market, and external sectors consisting of exports, imports, whatnot. All these, this is not exhaustive list, but these are the key important sectors which have been really hard hit due to this outbreak of a pandemic in the country. Friends, when, as you know, when all these activities have been paralyzed, they have been closed down, the first important impact we can evidently see is that rise in the unemployment rates. That is low employment opportunities, less employment opportunities, high unemployment, hike in the unemployment rate. That's one side. Other close link between investment and employment opportunities. When there is no demand, no production, no investment will be no investment, and the no investment leads to rise in the unemployment rates. Just see, friends, here unemployment rates. See, before COVID-19 and after COVID-19, so unemployment rates has gone up quite significantly. It has, before COVID-19, it was around 8%. By and large, it was 8%. And after the COVID-19 outbreak, see the it has gone up quite significantly to around 26% of the total labor force. And urban, so in rural economy, rural areas, unemployment rate is found to be high. It's high, especially when there was a reverse migrant people coming from urban area to rural economy. So therefore, unemployment is one of the important the adverse impact that we can see out of this COVID pandemic. And as a result of which, unemployment has resulted low income. That is the less disposable income. So as a result of which, the consumer consumers who are also lost their confidence. Say this, you can see here from this consumer confidence index. So consumer confidence index is estimated by considering in employment opportunity generated, income earning potential or income earnings, and purchases, and overall economic situations, and also the future expectations. So by considering these 4 or 5 indicators, consumer confidence index has been estimated, This basically indicates that if high consumer confidence index, if a high consumer confidence index indicates better employment opportunities, better earning position potentialities, better spending perspective, and better economic environment, and better availability of goods and services. When the consumer confidence index declines, less employment opportunities, less income earning potentiality, less spending, and less availability of goods and services, and very dismal picture of the Indian economy. So that has been appeared in the form of declining consumer confidence index. Just look at the last side of the this line diagram, both the green and the red. So red is the current expectations, and this blue line is future expectations, considering all the same indicators: employment, income, spending pattern, and so on and so forth. So friends, just see in the month of January, March, May, June data not available. See this red line, consumer confidence index has significantly declined. Which means what? Which means that there's no employment opportunities, less income earning potentiality, less spending. So this is how it has happened during the last 4 to 5 lockdown periods. That can also be seen in terms of decline in the consumer confidence index, decline in the demand, decline in the spending is seen in terms of decline in the inflation, which can be measured in terms of CPI as well as WPI, consumer price index, and WPI based index. And food grain index also declined, you can see, during the COVID period, after COVID, see before COVID. So after COVID, after the outbreak of the COVID, in the month of say January, February, March, and April, see declining trends in the inflation rates, reflecting recession, reflecting economic slowdown. Why this recession or economic slowdown? Because no demand, no investment, no production, nothing. So therefore, this is how the COVID-19 pandemic has impacted our Indian economy in terms of lowering the demand and also purchasing of goods and services. We can also see other part, that is that the one which I discussed here is a demand side. Okay, as you know, in economics, demand and then the supply are the pillar, are the key drivers of the Indian economy. Both are important. Both demand is also important and supply is also important. Production is also important, consumption is also important. So therefore, when there is a no demand, when there is a less consumption, then automatically production will come down. Obviously, production will come down. When production comes down, you know, investment comes down. Investments will be less. Investment less, employment is less. Employment less, and purchasing power or income of the people will be less, and the demand will be less. This is how it operates. That's fine. But what is the point that we need to understand from this slide is that this is a consumer, this is a PMI index, purchaser manager index. Purchaser manager index means this purchaser manager index is estimated by considering the investment, employment generated by the companies, and new orders issued and orders delivered, inventories, employment, investment, new orders received, and orders delivered, and inventories. These 5 indicators are taken into account to estimate purchasing managers index. That's what PMI index. Every month we'll just disfigure in the newspaper. Friends, after just see from the January onwards, in the January, February, March, April, May, slightly increase. So in these 4 to 5 months, you can see there is a decline in the PMI index. Decline in the PMI index means what? Decline in the PMI index means there is a decline in the investment. There is a decline in the orders, new orders received from the public, and there is a decline in the orders delivered, already received. Decline in the orders received, and decline in the inventories, and decline in the investment and employment. So therefore, that's how PMI index has declined, indicating that there is a economic slowdown, maybe due to, now obviously it is due to lack of demand, and that is due to say COVID pandemic. So therefore, COVID-19 pandemic has negatively impacted both the demand side as well as supply side, resulting into a decline in the GDP growth rate. Look at this figure friends, GDP growth rate, quarter-wise GDP growth rate. One point that you need to understand and then keep it in our mind is that This variations, quarter-wise variations in the GDP growth rate is not new to the Indian economy. When Indian economy has become a part of global economy, so whatever changes that occurs both within the country and outside the country will have some impact on the GDP growth rate. So that's how during the last 4 to 5 years, you can see during the last 8 years, you can see ups and downs, ups and downs in the quarter-wise GDP growth rate. But this time, during the last 2 years, so what is the important difference, the divergence that we can see from the as compared to the past one is that just look at this the last side of the figures, the bar diagrams. During last 2 years, there is a decline in the quarter-wise GDP growth rate. Just see, in the first quarter of 19, the first quarter of 18-19, GDP growth rate was as much as 18.8%, and then started to decline. See, so there is a persistent decline in the GDP growth rate, and this is not occurring. As I also have a data that this is not occurring in India only. This is a global phenomenon. We can also look at the data of other countries like USA, UK, Germany, France. In all these countries, during these 8 quarters, except this and into this occurring, there is a decline in the GDP growth rate. So there was an economic slowdown before appearing this COVID pandemic. That's what I mean to say. My point here is that before outbreak of this COVID pandemic, Indian economy was reeling under, just look at this figure, reeling under this economic slowdown. And this was also same in down. So at that time, during that very crucial period, this COVID pandemic appeared, and then it has deepened the economic slowdown further, reducing the GDP growth rate from say 4.1% to 3.1%. Just look at the last 2 columns. So this red pillar, red bar diagram is it indicates the GDP growth rate occurred at the time at which this pandemic occurred. That is during the month of January, February, March. During these 3 months, this is the outcome of the GDP growth rate of our Indian economy. Earlier it was before COVID-19, 4.1%. And at that time, we were all talking about, we had debate about the economic slowdown. So when Indian economy was reeling under the economic slowdown, at that time, this COVID appeared, and as a result of which the GDP growth rate further declined from 4.1% to 3.1%, showing this is only because of this COVID-19 pandemic spread and the consequent lockdown across the country. Friends, you can also look at which are the key sectors which have been affected due to COVID pandemic. This is. So among all these 3 sectors, agriculture, manufacturing, industrial sector, and then service sector, among these key sectors, it is manufacturing sector which is hard hit. Just look at this in the column industry sector. See, during last 3 quarters, this is first quarter of the 1920, the growth rate of industrial sector was 4%. And in the second quarter, say declined to 0.0, and in third and then fourth quarter became negative. The fourth quarter is the growth rate of the GDP, the industrial sector, during the period during which this COVID pandemic occurred. So therefore, there is a clear-cut evidence to show that the COVID pandemic has negatively impacted the industrial sector, especially in the industrial sector, especially manufacturing sector and then construction sector. Just look at the red colored bar diagram, red colored bar diagram. So they just look at there below the negative zone. So indicating that in the industrial sector, it is manufacturing sector, especially MSMEs and construction sector, which are very hard hit due to COVID pandemic. And next one is service sectors. Just look at the service sector here, third one. There's a persistent decline. There's a persistent decline in the service sector. Why is because before the outbreak of this COVID pandemic, our economy is reeling under crisis. That's why there is a decline. but the decline is much faster in the case of last quarter. Just look at this, the difference in the values of these. So service sector has, especially finance and real estate sector, and also trade, hotel, business, commerce, these two sectors have been hard hit. But public administration, defense, these are all, most of these services are government services which are not hit as much as the other services are hit. And other agriculture sector, I mean, not it did not get affected as much as the manufacturing and the service sector got it. So agriculture sector just continue to rise because, you know, lockdown basically clapped in the urban cities, metropolitan cities, but not in the not that much in the rural economy, and rural economy is agricultural economy, so therefore it is not that much affected. Of course, there is some negative impact has occurred, but still the growth rate of this GDP originating from agriculture sector during the last quarter is higher compared to the previous quarters. So therefore, friends, it is industry, especially the manufacturing sector, the MSMEs, and the construction sector, which are the hard hit due to this COVID pandemic. So these are the two sectors where a huge amount of income is generated. I mean, a large number of people are say employed for their living. So therefore, millions of people have been hard hit due to this COVID pandemic, in terms of losing their job, in terms of losing their bread and butter. Then the next question is, yes, what is the next? Next is this stimulus package. So keeping all this, the impacts that have been made on different sections, different sectors of the economy. As you know, Government of India, I mean, the Honorable Finance Minister has announced a stimulus package focusing on relief measures, stimulus measures, reforms, and then recovery, which can be summarized as follows. Friends, as you know, Finance Minister has announced this Atmanirbhar Bharat Abhiyana, basically to ensure India to become self-reliant and combat this COVID crisis, focusing on economy, infrastructure, technology, and vibrant demography and demand. Yeah, that 5 important pillars, that's what our Honorable Prime Minister said it. And he also cautioned us to become a vocal by local. And also, he also announced measures in the land, labor, liquidity, and also laws and many other such things. So these package, Atmanirbhar package, is going to have a beneficial impact in terms of India becoming self-reliant, as well as Indian economy. Be focusing on, I mean, I'll not be discussing in detail, but friends, as you know, many of countries across the globe are hard hit with the COVID-19 pandemic, as you know. And in order to combat, in order to address the various crises originated out of this pandemic, many of the countries have come up with a physical stimulus with varying degrees. Say Japan is the country which has come up with a stimulus package accounting for 21% of its GDP, followed by UK, USA, China, Sweden, Germany. So these countries have come up with a physical stimulus package more than 10%, from 10 to 21%. And India, this Atmanirbhar Bharat Abhiyana package, come up with fiscal policies accounting for 10% of the total GDP. And other countries, Russia, France, Brazil, Spain, Italy. See, depending on the severity of the cases and the availability of the resource constraint and fiscal strength and all, different countries have come up with a stimulus package accounting for GDP. Friends, as I said in the presentation, it is the manufacturing sector which is hard hit, especially MSMEs. So therefore, many of the MSMEs in our country, as you know, around 64 million MSMEs employing 11 crore people are hard hit. Then economy will be further showing declining trend. So therefore, in order to encourage the MSMEs, investment, production and marketing and all, the presentation by Finance Minister. So working capital, some incentives, emerging working capital, tested MSMEs, and providing fund of funds. It's like a multi-manager investment fund, and banning global tender, and also widening the definitions of MSMEs. So in these terms, in these directions, various measures have been announced so that MSMEs will be able to get more funds. MSMEs will be able to get more loan from banking institutions, and they can invest in manufacturing activities and then generate more employment opportunities, and that's how they can come back on track. So this and during this COVID pandemic, employees and employers also have been affected. I'll not be able to quote this amount and all because of paucity of time. Both employees and employers also have also faced financial crisis. So therefore, to just make them to feel financially relief, some this employees provident fund support and even reduction in terms of EPF contribution have been announced by providing some financial incentives. And so therefore, around as a result of this, around 6.5 lakh establishments, enterprises are going to get benefit, and 4.3 crore employees who are coming under the employees provident fund organizations will get benefit. So this is what another important fiscal incentives or measures announced by the Finance Minister. And in order to this increase the liquidity, we're all talking about pumping, prime pumping. There's a finance liquidity crunch is that even both purchaser side and then the producer side. So therefore, the whole package is focusing on prime pumping, which means increasing the liquidity, increasing the purchasing power in the hands of the consumer, and increasing the credit availability in the hands of the producers. So these are the two important components which are seen in the presentation. So therefore, there's as a part of this increase in the liquidity in the economy, there's some reductions in TDS and TCS, tax deducted at the sources, tax deduction at collection, reduced by 25% of their existing rates. So as a result of which, there will be some liquidity. Liquidity will be released in the economy by an amount of rupees 50,000 crore rupees. And the liquidity, even in the companies, power distribution companies, as you know, our power distribution companies have been financially stressed. So they have 92,000 crore rupees of dues to the power generating companies. Our power distribution companies are under the financial stress. They do not have even money to pay the dues to power generation companies. That's known as gen cost. So DISCOMs, power distribution companies, are under financial crunch, and they are not able to pay their dues to the power generation companies. Why they are crunch is because many people have not paid the electricity bill, and there is no force also, as you know, government order that nobody should be forced to pay their electricity bill and water bill and many other public utilities bills. So therefore, that's why during these 4 to 5 months, DISCOM, power distribution companies, HESCOM, BESCOM in Karnataka we call, so in Tamil Nadu, all across countries you might have seen, and they are having a dues of an amount of rupees 92,000 crore rupees. So therefore, for that, the government announced 90,000 crore rupees as a liquidity injection to the DESCOMs. And NBFCs, non-banking financial companies, housing financing companies, and microfinance institutions, which in fact play a very, very important role to lend MSMEs as well as urban trade and business establishments. So therefore, in order to enable them to lend further to the MSMEs and other urban private business, trade and commerce. So some fiscal incentives accounting for say 30,000 plus 45,000 crore, say 75,000 crore rupees of financial incentives. One is full credit guarantee scheme, other one is partial credit guarantee scheme. So under the partial credit guarantee scheme and full credit guarantee scheme, an amount of 75,000 crore rupees is allocated for NBFCs.
Hello.
And yes, sir.
Yeah, you can take another 5 to 10 minutes because we are going to have an interaction. You must
exactly. Yes.
Okay. Thank you.
Yes. So this is one measure, and another one is, as you know, vulnerable sections, especially the migrant workers and poor households and the vegetable vendors, street vendors, also hard hit during this pandemic. So for them, supply of free food grains is announced, and one nation card scheme is announced. So therefore, migrant workers, wherever they go, they can get the food grains from the PDS, and even for street vendors also, an amount of 5,000 rupees is given, and then 10,000 rupees of working capital is given, so that they can again take up their business after this lockdown is open. So vulnerable sections has also been taken care of in this stimulus package, and other for agriculture, for other even this migrant workers, wherever they go for in search of bread and butter in the urban areas, they are facing lots of difficulties about the accommodation. So therefore, this time this package that focusing on to provide affordable rental houses in urban metropolitan cities. So that's a very good move. And for budget allocation, again 40,000 crore rupees has been announced to take up some public works under the NREGA, because many of the migrant workers came back from urban to rural economy due to this lockdown and the fear of this COVID pandemic. So therefore, under NREGA 40,000 crore is another. And some interest subvention scheme is also announced for Mudra Shishu loans, and NABARD has got another 30,000 crore rupees, so that the our small and marginal farmers can get more loan from the NABARD. And as far as agriculture sector is concerned, as you know, food and micro enterprises, basically food processing units are going to be established, and for the fishermen, for the benefit of fishermen, so Pradhan Mantri Matsya Yojana Sampada Yojana, some additional amount has been announced. So therefore, fishermen will also get benefit in terms of more infrastructure facilities and other benefits. And then Operation Green Scheme is also another. So under this scheme, vegetables, tomato, onions, and some potatoes, perishable goods from the surplus market to deficit market will be transported, so that the farmers will also get benefit, and then consumers will also get benefit out of this green Operation Green schemes. And Agriculture Infrastructure Fund and other incentives like development and animal husbandry and other financial benefit for cultivation of herbal plants and beekeeping. So all these activities are going to get benefit in the agriculture sector. And other last important point is that this time various reforms measures were announced in the key 8 important sectors, like in coal mining, in defense production, civil aviation sector, power distribution companies, and space sector. In these sectors, some reforms were announced so that private investment is going to take place, and then huge amount of employment opportunities are going to be generated, so that our poor people, especially skilled and unskilled people, are going to get benefit out of this. Friends, these are the due to paucity of them, are not able to focus on each one of the aspects. But what is important point is that in order to combat this COVID pandemic, Finance Minister has come up with this 20 lakh plus crore rupees of stimulus package. But what is the worrying thing is that how much this benefit will really reach the needs, and whether this package is sufficient. So in my opinion, see, just provision of 5,000 rupees and then 5 kg of food grains to the poor people is not sufficient. It is a 5 months lockdown period almost. So therefore 5,000 rupees it's nowhere. So for people who got affected, especially migrant workers, poor people, small marginal farmers should get 5,000 rupees per month. I mean, altogether they should get 25,000 rupees to their account, so that they can feel better and then lead a life. And cash is not just enough; they need other things also, so that they should be given. So therefore, now 20 lakh crore rupees stimulus package is not sufficient, and some more. I mean, about 15 lakh crore. 15 lakh more crore stimulus package is essential, so that the food grains that have been announced can be doubled, and cash amount that has been announced can also be doubled, so that our weaker sections, especially migrant workers and the poor people, will get benefit out of this. Friends, there are many challenges. I will not be able to list down all of them. Many challenges because, as you know, in the recent past, again with the increased relaxation in the lockdown, the cases, COVID cases are rising over a period of time. So as a result of which, what happens is that maintaining social distance becomes very problematic. We are now, you can see in the marketplaces like in Bangalore, in Madras, and Bombay, Pune, Delhi. See, there's a huge rush. And as a result of this, there's a quite possibility of transmitting transmission of this disease from one person to another person. So that's why you can see in the last, there is a rapid rise in the number of cases affected with the COVID pandemic. So therefore, there is a greater possibility of human transmission. And there is a corona phobia among all the workers. I tell you, there is a corona phobia among all the workers who came from urban to rural area. So it is very difficult for them to, or for enable them to come back to the urban economy, because urban economy, as you know, especially the informal economy, largely depends on the unskilled workers. So the many millions of workers have gone back to their rural areas, and then now there is a less possibility of coming back to urban, especially informal sector, because they have corona phobia. Still they have some fearness, so therefore they are not able to leave their place. And then, so therefore it is very difficult to get the migrant workers back to the urban economy, so that urban economy is going to have some risk. And ensuring all the benefits that have been announced to the needy people, especially migrant workers, poor people, and all what we call gig workers. So that's another important task that we have, the challenge that we have. And provision of livelihood opportunities. Many millions of migrant workers came back to the rural economy from urban area. So how can we provide them employment opportunities? That's another challenge that we have. And reverse migration is becoming problematic. And there are many, even the package that has been announced is not inadequate. It's not adequate, it is inadequate, quite inadequate. And so therefore, in my view, with this package, with limited amount, I don't think that we can have the Indian economy on a V-shaped recovery soon, because cases are rising. And still this coronavirus is with us. So therefore, we are living with coronavirus because it's a part and parcel of our life. So therefore, with the fearness, even consumers are not going to buy their goods and services. Producers are also not able to produce goods and then services. Of course, banks have money. Banks have given money. Banks are given all this financial benefits and loans. But how they are not lending, and investors are not going to the bank, and we also consumers are not going to the market to buy goods and then services. So unless and until demand rises, unless and until production rises, this Indian economy will not come back, will not be on a V-shaped recovery. So therefore, it takes some more time. It takes some more time as long as the demand increases and as well as production increases. So therefore, we have a very tough time in the days to come. But only medicine is that social distancing is a very important point, because so far, as you know, we have not found medicine, and cases are rising. So therefore, social distancing is a very important strategy that we need to adopt. That's one side. On the other side, there must be some more stimulus package to increase the demand. And there is some more stimulus package in true sense, increase the productive capacity production. So if this happens, then we are going to get the Indian economy on track. So these words, remarks, I stop it here, and I thank my friend Mutturaj sir.
Sir. Sir.
Hello.
Our side list. Sir, can you hear us, sir? Sir, Birdar sir.
Yes. Hello. Yes.
Yes. Yes, sir. We can now hear you.
Yeah. You have heard my last word, right?
No, sir. No, the video
Okay.
was
There was
stuck.
some problem. There's some problem.
Yes, sir.
Hello?
Yes.
Yes. Yeah. These are my suggestions and my views on this COVID-19 in the Indian economy. So before that, I thank my friend Mutturaj sir and his colleague in the department for giving paper among all the audience coming from different.
Sir, can you hear us? Sir, Birdar sir. Participants, if you have any queries, you can raise your hand so that I can unmute yourself and you can ask the question. Participant, if you have any questions, you can show the symbol. Yes, I have seen this. Birdar sir.
Yeah, madam.
Yes. Mishra.
Yes.
Just unmuting yourself.
Haji, Mishra ji.
Hello, sir.
Yes, sir.
Hello, sir.
Please.
Hello, sir. How how our Indian economy will recover back by corona pandemic? Hello.
Oh yeah. It's really yes.
Sir,
Hello?
I want to question that, sir, how our Indian economy will recover soon fast from this
Yes.
corona epidemic?
Yes. It's really a good question, but very difficult to answer because there are many unknowns. Unknowns in the sense that we don't know for how long this COVID pandemic, that is coronavirus, will be with us. And unknown is that how much, income will be generated. I mean, purchasing power will increase and then production will take place. So it's very difficult to predict, friend Pankaja Mishra Sarji, because there are many factors which are simultaneously operating. So among them, this COVID pandemic is one. So COVID pandemic, we don't know when it is going to say spread its transmission. It depends. But soon we won't get it recovered. Many credit rating agencies have said that GDP growth rate is going to decline in the next, current fiscal year. Yes.
Sir, my second question is that the migrant workers who went to their home village, to the rural areas, can they will get relief after the COVID-19 pandemic?
Yes, exactly. It is another very important question. Say many of the academicians, including myself, they are saying that they have phobia, corona phobia. They are now saying that even after opening up of the lockdown, they are not interested. They are not willing to go back to their earlier places, working places. So therefore, it takes 1 or 2 years to the phobia that should wither away. So the fearness that they have. So in order to wither away this phobia, so it takes 1 or 2 years. So now most of the migrant workers are not willing to go back to the urban places where they were previously working. Yes, it's difficult.
So, sir, one more
yeah.
question from Dr. Sandana Muthu, sir. I am unmuting Sandana Muthu, sir.
These are all hypothetical questions and hypothetical answer, because many of the things are unpredictable. Yes. Hello. Hello.
Sir, yes, we can hear you. I'm just giving the questions. There are questions in the chat box.
Okay.
What are implementing the government policies on COVID-19?
Okay.
The chat is enabled from my side, so I can give you read the question.
Okay.
What are implementing the government policy on COVID-19?
That's what I mentioned. Atmanirbhara Bharat. Atmanirbhara Bharat with 20 lakh odd crore package, focusing on MSMEs. Yes, MSMEs, and focusing on agriculture sector, focusing on migrant workers, and focusing on street vendors, and focusing on fishermen, and focusing on gig workers. So these are the 5 fiscal incentives announced by the finance minister. And in due course of time, some more incentives or some more measures are going to be announced. Yes.
Sir, one more question. What are the positive impacts of this pandemic, and what industries were at gain?
Yes, exactly. Yeah, positive impact as far as the industry is concerned. I don't really think the positive impact that we enjoy. But as far as spending with our family members, it's kind of even showing our skills, exhibiting our talent, hidden talent. You might have seen in the newspaper, in the video, on TV and all. Many people came up with some talents. So these are some positive impact on the social kind of things. But as far as environment is concerned, recently you might have seen there's some report showing that this environment pollution, carbon dioxide has come down, and air pollution and noise pollution, traffic related accidents have come down due to this. So therefore, accept these benefits, that is reduction in carbon dioxide and less traffic, less in accidents, and also the social benefit. Except this, I don't really think that there are other positive benefits. But positive benefits are less than the negative benefits. I mean, negative impact. Is it right?
So actually, Dr. Sandana Muthu, sir, I'm not able to unmute you, so you can give your questions in the chat.
Okay. What is the question? Can you read? If the government reduces GST, will it boost investment and purchasing power? Is it the question? Yes, this is a good question. But still, demand is not picking up. It is a reduction of the GST. As far as this question is concerned, question by Manoj Kumar, P. Manoj Kumar. Hello, can you hear me?
Yes, sir. Yes.
Can I go with this question?
Yes, sir. You can.
Yeah. Yes. If the government reduces the GST, will it boost the investment and purchasing power? It's a very good question. Reduction of the GST is not the only factor which increases production and then consumption, but there are many other factors. So one is say phobia. Still, we as a consumer, you've seen just from my presentation recently, consumer confidence index is still declining. So we are not confident enough. We are not able to get benefit. I mean, we are not able to get employment opportunities and increase the income, purchasing power and all. So therefore, demand is not rising quite significantly what it was earlier. And production is also not picking up. Investment is not picking up. So therefore, reduction in GST, I don't really think that may that may raise the production and then investment as of now. It takes time. When this phobia, when situation comes to the normal, then reduction of GST becomes more important in my view. Yes. Any other? There are many, but I can. I didn't receive any feedback from sir. Okay.
Sir, there's a question from Grace Money. Sir, how will the banking sectors and financial institutions deal with the loss of investment, and will they ever be able to cope up with the loss?
Yeah, this banking sector, you mean? Banking sector and? Hello?
Yes, banking sectors and financial institutions.
Yes, exactly. See, under the refinancing scheme, and the NABARD has given a huge amount of credit, and under this package also stimulus package, say there's a huge amount announced. So banking institutions and then financial institutions have some money with them to lend further. So as long as these producers and the investors, they don't get the credit from these institutions, so long as they won't be able to get benefit of it. So therefore, among many of the unknowns, it's very difficult to predict that these banking institutions are going to earn profits. Because it all depends. It all depends how fast our investment activities pick up, how fast our demand picks up. So investment and demand picks up, automatically investors will approach banking and financial institutions, and they make investment, and then thereby they make the profit. Otherwise, it becomes very difficult for them. Yes, this is what I mean.
Sir, one more question from Dr. Saravanan. What is the suggestion of education institutions which mostly depending on students to come back? Most of the students don't have or online education. What is the suggestion?
Suggestion for what? Suggestion is only suggestion for what? Is it opening up of the education institutions or not opening up? Yeah, I know many of the education institutions are not opened up; they are closed down, and the students are not able to say go to the college or institutions, and many of them are on online learning. So the suggestion for what? Hello.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, yes. It is suggestion. I couldn't get in a suggestion for what. I know the situation as far as education institution is concerned. Many of the online learning is not effective. That's what I mean to say. The virtual learning is more effective than online learning. So therefore, as soon as this complete lockdown is opened up, all education institutions are going to open up, and then the students may come. So online learning, I don't really think that it is more effective, maybe cost effective, but it's not effective as far as knowledge gaining is concerned. So therefore, virtual learning, that's face-to-face class or teaching is more effective.
Sir, a question from Albert Christopher, sir.
Yes.
Sir, Albert Christopher, sir, can you unmute from yourself? Albert, sir. Okay, I think I'm not able to unmute. Okay, so next question is from Rajeshwari. Will agriculture sector play a prominent role in India in near future?
Yes, as far as because agriculture still continue to be a backbone as far as employment generation is concerned. Many of the migrant workers who came from urban to rural economy. So agriculture is going to become more important source of bread and butter for these workers. But it depends again the natural factors, right? If there is a good rainfall, good temperature, then these people can be accommodated. Otherwise, it won't. Only other alternative is some this employment generation under MG Narega. Yes.
Okay, sir. Actually, one more question. Sir, just I correlate unemployment rate and stagnation. How can we overcome this problem? Because COVID causes huge impact on supply and demand.
Exactly. Yes, high unemployment rate and low GDP coexisted. So this can be tackled only by two measures. One is physical measure, other one is monetary measures, monetary policy and physical policies. So from monetary policies, say as you know, or many of us know it, that RBI has reduced this repo rate and SLR and to some extent CRR. So therefore, enabling the financial institutions to lend more credit to the investors or the producers. So that's one method. And other one is physical measures which have been announced recently. Say it also enables the investors to make investment, and it also enables to increase the purchasing power of that demand, and by increasing the production, investment production, employment opportunities on the other hand, can tackle this kind of high unemployment and low GDP growth rate. Yes, good question.
Sir, a question from Albert Christopher Das, sir. Whether the measure have touched the needy, how many have availed this benefits?
Exactly. That is the big, is it all right? That is the biggest question. Many of us, many academicians now were discussing and then criticize that, yes, these are all announcements, but still benefits have not reached. Say auto rickshaw wala, street vendors, and all what other gig workers, still they don't know. They said that, even I had some interaction with some people. They know that there's some announcement from the government to government in the newspaper and media, but still they have not obtained the benefit. So therefore, that is the biggest worry, that is the biggest challenge. Identifying the needy, ensuring this benefit to them is really a big challenge. But in my view, still many of the needy affected people are not able to get the benefit of this stimulus package. Yes. Yes, any other?
Sir, last question. How demand of non-essential goods can be increased? On which industrial growth depends, as demand of essential is good at present?
See, at present, because of this COVID pandemic, the demand for non-essential goods have been postponed. Many of us just look at the consumers' confidence index by different sectors or different items. So there's inevitable that no demand for staple essential items, without which the life is not possible. So therefore, non-essential goods like purchase of car, even cement, iron, or all other electronic and items and all have been postponed. So in order to encourage the demand for this non-essential commodities, so it takes time. This all COVID phobia should wither away from the economy or from the society. So then only the demand for non-essential goods may pick up. Yes.
Yes, thank you, sir. Actually, we have lots of questions
Lots of
posted and so many people are raised hands, but due to the time constraint, I think we can close
Okay,
this.
very good.
Is
Very
it
good,
okay, sir?
Yes, yeah, for me it's okay, no problem. You just see from your side. I think there's a good response and then good number of people raised very good questions, very burning questions, but answers are all hypothetical because there are many unknowns, and under this unknown situation, fitting model is very difficult. Yes.
Okay,
Yeah.
sir. Thank you. Actually, now we invite Dr. Jabaraj, sir, Assistant Professor of Economics Department, to propose vote of thanks.
Yeah. Before that, I once again thank all the organizers, especially my friend Mutturaj sir, and all the team in the department, and also all the participants who have very actively participated by raising very interesting question. So thank you so much for all of you. Yes.
Hello, sir.
Yes, sir.
Yes. I'm really happy to have this wonderful occasion today. First of all, I thank God Almighty for His guidance and for His presence today. And then we would like to we'd like to thank our Principal and Secretary, Dr. Dominic Christopher sir, for giving a permission to conduct this kind of webinar in our college. And then we thank the chief guest of today, speaker, Dr. R.R. Brida from Karnataka University. Really, we thank for your wonderful presentation, sir. Really, each and every participant gained a lot from your presentation. So we are happy to have you today, sir. And then we thank all the participants nationally and internationally to participate in this webinar. We thank you from the bottom of our heart. And then we thank all our department staff, those who really given their hands to mold this webinar. And then we thank our head of the department, Dr. C. Muthuraja sir, for his motivation and from the beginning connecting all the expertise nationally and internationally. Really, we thank our head, Dr. C. Muthuraja sir. And then we thank our technical coordinator and the master of ceremony, Dr. Shabna ma'am, for her wonderful guidance. And then we thank one and all present here.